Packers, little place, big taste. By your Southeast Toyota dealer. During Toyota's National Clearance Event, get amazing deals on a great selection of new Toyotas. Toyota, moving forward. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Back at Tropicana Field, Rays and the Blue Jays tonight. Right now, let's go to the field. Here's Whit Watson.
Dwayne, thanks very much. Good to be back with you again. And the Rays happy to be not just home, but home against the Toronto Blue Jays. Tremendous success against Toronto in this building over the last couple of years. Since September 8th of 2007, Tampa Bay is 14-3 against Toronto here in St. Pete. 12-0 in a one-run or a two-run game. Just in 08 and 09, Toronto only 3-12 in this building. So it's an opportunity for Tampa Bay as they start a three-game series against a team against whom they've enjoyed great success over the last couple of seasons. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Whit, and it is great to have you back and be with you as well. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays starting lineup. It'll be Jose Bautista in right field to lead it off, with Aaron Hill, the second baseman, hitting second. And the DH tonight is Adam Lind. And the red-hot Vernon Wells in center hitting cleanup, followed by Lyle Overbay. Edwin Encarnacion is at third base. Rod Barajas will catch. Travis Snyder hits eighth. He'll be in left field. And the shortstop, and a very good defensive shortstop at that, batting ninth, is John McDonald.
James Shields on the mound tonight for the Rays, making his 31st start of the year. As you can see in the innings column, he's just shy of another 200-inning season. Looking for his first victory here at Tropicana Field since all the way back in early June. Shields against the Toronto Blue Jays, making his fifth start of the year against the Jays. And today's defensive alignment brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarket. Carl Crawford in left field. B.J. Upton back in the lineup in center. Gabe Gross in right. Evan Longoria playing stellar defense lately. He's at third. Jason Bartlett, Akinori Uemura, Willie Ibar, the rest of the infield. And Greg Zahn will be calling signals for James Shields. That defense brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarket, where saving you money is our passion.
Joe Madden and the Rays, a game over 500 now, 74-73. Anxious to get this homestand started. The Rays with 15 games left. 12 of those will be at home, including 5 on this homestand with Toronto and Seattle coming in. There's Cito Gaston, his second run as the skipper of the Blue Jays, and the first time, of course, it included back-to-back World Series winners in 92 and 93. Here's Bautista. First pitch from Shields, and it's a little bit outside to start things. Right on time at 7:38. 1-0. And the pitch is in there, a strike around the knees. Bautista tried to hold up, and I think Larry Vanover said that was a strike anyway. Vanover calling the balls and strikes, a veteran of 16+ years in the major leagues. That's inside. The count goes to 2-1. And a base hit right back to the middle off a fastball. And Bautista is aboard.
A little different look to the top of the Blue Jays lineup tonight. Marco Scutaro and Aaron Hill have been 1-2 in the lineup for all but just 5 games this year. But Bautista getting a chance to lead off tonight, comes through in his first debut.
And here is Aaron Hill. Hill starts the night with 98 runs batted in. No Toronto Blue Jays second baseman has ever driven in as many as 100 runs in a single season. Hill now tops with 98. Roberto Alomar one year drove in 93. There's a roller, a fair ball, and Shields with a little pickup, and the toss to first takes care of Hill, with Bautista moving up to second base.
Hill way out in front of that changeup, barely cued it off the end of his bat. Shields was able to make the easy play. Proud
to say we once again tonight offer this game in high definition. And here's Adam Lynn. And what has been profiled as a frustrating and inconsistent season for the Blue Jays, they have seen the emergence of Adam Lynn as a bona fide major league hitter, really their best hitter, and he's hitting in the number 3 spot, as you might expect.
He's been very consistent all season long, hits righties and lefties, a guy who, along with Aaron Hill, is providing great pop in that 2-3 slot in the lineup.
He's driven in 103 runs. 2-0. That would rank him 4th in the league, just a slot behind and 1 RBI behind Evan Longoria. Shields and Zahn trying to get together here with Bautista at second base and 1 out in the first. Liner into right. That's in there for a base hit. Around third, Bautista's on his way to the plate. He'll score the first run. So Lynn singles on a fastball, pulled it into right. That's his 104th RBI.
Shields trying to get in on the plate, and it was up a little bit. Adam Lynn doesn't miss too many of those. Inside part of the plate and up, and he just rips it into right field. Gross had to come over to his left, so no chance to throw out Bautista at home.
So the Blue Jays strike first. Vernon Wells with a 10-game hitting streak. First pitch is a strike.
One of the rare cases where the visiting team has the advantage against the home team in terms of being rested. This visiting Toronto team came in here after their game on Wednesday night. They had all day yesterday around St. Petersburg.
1-1 to count. The Rays played the night game in Baltimore and then headed home after that, so it was a middle of the night arrival for the Rays. 1-2. That with the exception of James Shields, who got here a little earlier than everybody else.
He had a 9 a.m. flight out of Baltimore. He was here all day yesterday getting ready for this start. Shields really wants to finish strong. He's disappointed in the win-loss total, but he's kept his team in the game more often than he hasn't.
It's been low, and it's blocked by Zahn. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and changeup in the dirt. Wells at .250 career average against Shields in 28 at-bats, 1 home run. And he's out on strikes. Shields had him out in front. Used the changeup to get him on strikes for the second out.
Got ahead of the count, then doubled up on changeups. Vernon didn't chase the one in the third this time. He does go after good diving action, late darting action for Shields on that changeup, which, as you well know, is his best pitch.
Here's Lyle Overbay. Comes in at 265. Pitch is down. Blue Jays on a 9-game, 10-day road trip. They're 3-3 after stops in Detroit and New York. Play the Tigers and the Yankees. There's the strike. It's 1-1. Overbay has started to swing the bat better the last few days for the Blue Jays. There's the strike at the knees, and it's 1-2. He had an 0 for 16 streak going, and got a hit in Detroit, and started to swing the bat better in New York. this time looking at a fastball to retire the side. 1 run in. We go to the bottom of the first. 1-0 Toronto. Their lineup put together by Joe Madden. Jason Bartlett continues to hit out of the #1 spot, followed by Carl Crawford. And Evan Longoria's bat has really been hot over the last 3 weeks. Ben Zobrist, the DH, hits cleanup, followed by Willie Ibar, Greg Zahn, Akadori Iwamura, Gabe Gross in right field hits 8th, and B.J. Upton will bat 9th.
Scott Richmond on the mound for the Blue Jays. He'll be making his 21st start of the year. 6-9 with an ERA just above 5. Did make his big league debut against these Rays back on July 30th of last year.
And here's Bartlett, 5th leading hitter in the American League. Taking the first pitch down and away. Jason hitting .326. Low. 2-0. This one skied not overly deep towards center, where Vernon Wells makes the catch. That is out #1.
Check out Toronto's defense tonight in the outfield. From left to right, Travis Snyder, Vernon Wells in center, Jose Batista in right field, Edwin Encarnacion, the third baseman, John McDonald at short. He always seems to make at least one spectacular play against the Rays each game. Aaron Hill, Lyle Overbay, Rod Barajas rounding out your infield. Today's defensive alignment review brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarket, where saving you money is our passion.
Now Carl Crawford. First pitch is ball 1. Carl 4 of 7 with a home run off Scott Richmond. 2-0. It's a strike. The Rays beat Richmond 11-4 on the 30th of June. Taken down. Worked 7 innings in that one. Gave up 3 runs and 6 hits. Rays hit 3 home runs off him. There's a liner into left center field, and Crawford's aboard. Wells will make the pickup. Carl makes the turn. A 1-out single.
Well, Carl already had the cycle against Richmond in his career, and he just continues to add to his totals against this Toronto right-hander. Outside pitch, why Carl Crawford has been so good this year, not trying to roll over on that ball and go into right field, just takes it, hits it on the line where it was pitched into left center field. For a moment, it looked like Carl might have 2, but Vernon Wells did a nice job cutting it off.
So here's Evan Longoria, which moving away from him had a little movement right at the end and a wave and a miss. Carl with 58 steals on the year. This one down and blocked by Barajas. No opportunity for Carl to move up on that one.
For the game, Cito Gaston was asked about the most disruptive base runner in the American League, and he said after a short pause he thought it was Carl Crawford. He just feels like CC could change the game from what a pitcher does in terms of his delivery to home plate. He's been very impressed over the years watching the Rays left field.
Fly ball back into deep center field. Well hit. Wells to the wall. He's got it. On his way back to first, Crawford, Vernon Wells had to cover a lot of real estate to get to that one, as Longoria made a bid for a long one to center and came up just a step and a half short.
Very impressive play by Wells. Longo had a fastball to hit. That's also what happens sometimes with Crawford on base, and Wells knew exactly how far he had to go. He has just a step in front of the wall, but eased up so that he had a nice little cushion there against the fence and didn't go crashing in hard. That was our Progress Energy Energized defensive play, brought to you by Progress Energy.
The move to first, and Crawford is back in. Crawford was caught stealing with Richmond on the mound when he made that start, when Richmond started against the Rays up in Toronto on June the 30th. Earl Chavez threw him out then. They have Barajas behind the plate now. Pitch is a strike to Zobrist. Chavez probably a little better in the throwing department, but Barajas has a pretty good arm himself.
They're obviously very aware of Carl at first. Richmond trying to stay quick to the plate with this slow slide step here.
Crawford back in one more time.
I think Crawford's really encouraged to try and get to 60. He's never reached that number before in his career, just too shy right now. And after that big first half, you knew that 60 was definitely in his sights.
Pitch is low. It's 1-1. Carl with an 81% success rate in the steal department. Fouled away, and the count's going to go to 1-2. Carl did have 59 steals. Finished another year with 58. He's at 58 right now. He had 59 in 2004.
That's why you knew last year was a bit of an aberration. That was not Carl Crawford. He was not healthy most of the year, and his numbers were way down in the stolen base department.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch him be healthy all year and have the kind of year he's put together. One and two the count to Zobrist. And a little broken bat pop to the shortstop, McDonald. A couple of steps into the outfield to retire the side. Rays leave a man through 1-0 Toronto. the leadoff hitter in the second against James Shields. Shortstop Jason Bartlett. It's thrown, Ibar right on the money. 1 away. Well, we'll get the catcher Rod Barajas to the plate. Now, Shields has hit 200 innings. He really has been the workhorse for the Rays. This is his 3rd straight season of at least 200 innings of work. Barajas settles in. It's a strike.
That is a stat that some people may overlook, but James Shields is as proud of that as anything. 200 innings, taking the ball every 5 days. This is a guy you can count on as a rock in your rotation.
Pitch is down, 1-1. And you know, when it doesn't make any difference if you're a general manager or pitching coach, when they start trying to build a pitching staff, really the first thing they try to figure out is who's going to cover all those innings. When you look at the long view of an entire season, and when you can pencil a guy in for 200 plus innings and know they're going to be quality innings, they're going to be innings that win or lose, you're going to be in the game with this guy on the mound. There's so much value in that.
And you're right, every inning's going to be competitive. He's going to have a game plan before every start. He rarely gets surprised by anything. It's a guy that you can count on. He just doesn't miss a start. 115 starts in his career, now 116 with the Rays, and just always is there to take the ball when you need him every 5 days.
One out, bases empty. 1-2 to Barajas. Shot the outside corner and missed, and so the count goes 2-2. The other side of that, you need a little run support. Shields has not received a lot of that. He and his rotation mate, Matt Garza, boy, it's been tough in that department. Swing and a miss. Barajas out on strikes. 2 up, 2 down here in the second inning.
3rd strikeout for Shields. His first one on a changeup, his second one called on a fastball, and this is a nice little cutter there that he gets Barajas chasing. 3 different pitches for his 3 strikeouts.
2 gone. Here's Travis Snyder. Snyder in left field. Snyder's hitting only .233, but the Blue Jays really look at him as a very important part of their future. 1-1, foul ball right back.
He's a guy Cito Gaston's keeping an eye on here in September that just has ridiculous power. When he hits home runs, they don't just clear the fence. He had a couple at Yankee Stadium that were just monsters.
2-1.
And because he was up earlier in the year and then sent back down, he tore it up at AAA Las Vegas. But sometimes you forget, this guy's still only 21 years old. He's still learning at the big league level against the toughest division in baseball for pitchers.
That's a strike. You know, that's a great observation, Todd. In the American League East, if you're a young player, if you're just a player in general, and you're playing most of your schedule inside the AL East, and you come away with good performance, I mean, what's that worth in the other divisions when you're playing all the time? Because, I mean, this American League East is, as the Rays have found, is very, very tough. Wave and a miss. Snyder out of there on strikes. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Ball game hit to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Blue Jays. Willie Ibar is going to lead off for the Rays. The Blue Jays scored a run in the first. Adam Lynn driving in Jose Bautista. Mechanically only scoring so far tonight. Ibar takes a pitch low from Scott Richmond. The strike. Richmond spent some time on the shelf. He had tendonitis in his right arm. Ibar shortening on the bat. 2 balls and a strike. Richmond, since coming off the list the end of June, has made 7 starts and is 0-4 in that time. Ibar ahead of him, 3 balls and a strike. Now we go full.
Madden employing a lot of lefty switch hitters in this lineup. If Fernando Perez was healthy, we may have seen him because the splits are vastly different for Richmond against lefties and righties.
Ibar stays alive.
Not only do lefties hit him for a better average, but Richmond has a tendency to lose the plate a little more against lefties. He walks a lot more left-hand hitters, so I see a lot of teams load up their lineups with lefties against Richmond.
Now righties hitting only 228 off him, and left-handers 279. And that is strike 3. Ibar caught looking.
You don't see Willie look too much at a called third strike. 3-2 pitch. You've got to protect the plate. He thought that was going to ride inside, and it stayed on the inner half. Good pitch right there. A little bit of tail action, but Ibar thought that was going to be inside. Ends up taking the call third.
Greg Zahn takes an opening strike, a fastball. Breaking ball is fouled, 0-2.
You mentioned the AL East last half inning, and one of the reasons why Toronto was off to such a hot start, most people felt early this year, was that they didn't face the AL East. Sure enough, that's when they started coming back to earth after that 27-14 start where they were playing teams outside of the division.
And as they fell out of contention, they dealt Scott Rowland away. There's a shot down the right field line, but it's going to be foul. Out of play, and the count holds at 1-2. Alex Rios wound up with the White Sox. Well, they forced to make some personnel changes.
And it looked like for a while Roy Halladay was going to leave the team, but of course he never was traded. And he gets his obligatory start against the Rays on Sunday.
That's strike 3. Zahn caught looking. 2 strikeouts here in this inning.
Well, Greg Zahn mildly disagreed. He thought it maybe was up a little bit. I think it had the plate. Well, it's right around the high part of the strike zone. Kind of dropped in there nicely at the end.
Like a high slider.
Yep. Thought he didn't argue too much because he wants to make sure James Shields gets that same plate in the next half.
Here's Hockey lifting one down the left field side. That's going to be out of play. Slicing out of the reach of Snyder.
I think a good final couple weeks here for Aki, too, can make him feel a lot better about things going into the offseason. It's been a little struggle. When you're out that length of time, you don't really have a lot of time to catch up to Major League speed. I think if Aki goes in with a couple of strong weeks, that could really be a nice boost for him mentally going into the offseason.
Yeah, he's hitting .294, and of course there's the question about what the Rays are thinking in regard to the option on his contract. a strike. It's 1-2. As far as Aki's concerned, he's already made it pretty clear he'd love to come back. He likes the area. His wife likes it here. He's the infant son, and so they've enjoyed their time here, and I think he'd like to remain a Ray and be willing to talk about it.
He was looking for a Tampa Bay Buccaneers shirt on that last road trip, and he couldn't find one. It's part of that theme trip that the Rays had. So he's a Tampa Bay guy through and through. He loves it here, and if his wife loves it here, that's even more important.
Yeah, it starts with that. 2 outs. Base is empty, and the 3-2 is skied the other way.
When I said he was looking for a Bucs jersey, we were in Boston at the time, so he hadn't planned that far ahead. We were in Boston, and he was looking for a Bucs jersey, and obviously the Patriots jerseys dominate up there.
Yeah, that's more of a specialty item in Boston. Fouls another 3-2 pitch away. Well, we'll see what happens. I think his option is a little under $5 million. There's a buyout involved, about $500,000 or a little bit more. And the Rays start to put their roster and their budget together. Hey, there's a high fly ball, pretty well hit, back into right center field, and that ball is going to be off the wall. Extra bases as Eva Mora pulls this one deep toward the right center side of center field and has himself a double.
A lot of Japanese hitters use that little moving style where they generate some body movement before the pitch. And you can see him clear out his hips, and his body's moving forward as he swings and gets a lot of carry on this ball. Hit well to right center field for a pitch on the outer half of the plate. And Aki initially was looking at a possibility of 3, but settles for his 15th double of the year.
Now Gabe Gross gets an opportunity, the first scoring chance of the game for the Rays. It's low, and it's blocked by Barajas on the pitch down and in. Breaking ball from Scott Richmond.
The other thing about Aki, too, and talking about how much he loves the area, this area loves him. When we did that pep rally last year in Stroud Park, I think his ovation was close to the loudest.
Yeah, I think you're right. He made that transition from third to second. That was so important for the success of the team, and he did it flawlessly. Another pitch in the dirt, blocked by Barajas. A couple of breaking balls down. 2-0. Mora at second base. 2-0 to Gross. Ball 3. Fastball up. 3-0. So Richmond with first base open has been pitching like that, particularly with the right-handed bat of Upton on deck.
Yeah, nothing close in this sequence to Gabe Gross. 2 bounce breaking balls and a fastball.
And the pitch off the plate in. So Gross walks, putting runners at first and second with 2 gone. If you need a new cap, stop by the New Era Cap Corner on your next visit to Tropicana Field. It's in the third base food court. Choose from Rays caps, novelties, accessories, and more. The New Era Cap Corner, the official cap of Major League Baseball. Among the best looking caps in baseball.
Yeah, 2 different styles we saw there. I like that little spring training cap look, the practice look with the light yellow stripe, or light blue stripe rather.
It's B.J. Upton, and that opening fastball is a strike. Upton fouls it back, and now he's down 0-2. In that game that Richmond pitched against the Rays up in Toronto, Upton hit the very first pitch of the game for a home run to the left field. Crawford and Ibar also homered in that game off Richmond. Now Richmond is ahead of BJ, 2 strikes. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Good take there by BJ. That's a pitch that other pitchers have gotten him out on a lot this year. That ahead of the count 0-2 or 1-2 breaking ball down and away, but he held off that time.
Upstairs. It's 2-2. Interesting to hear hitters talk about little things about hitting and getting that front foot down. And it seems this year that's really been an issue for BJ Upton. He dumps this one to the right side. Overbay with the toss to Richmond, and for a moment I thought he might have a chance to beat it out, but he's out at the end of 2, 1-0 Blue Jays.
Rays minor league award winners announced and honored on the field prior to the game against the Blue Jays. Desmond Jennings, the minor league player of the year, and Jeremy Hellickson, the minor league pitcher of the year. And Desmond and Jeremy joining us here at the Power Alley Pub. First of all, congratulations on great years. You both finished the year at Durham. Talk about that experience playing at AAA.
It was a lot of fun. We both just try to go out there and do good wherever we're at, and we had won the championship, so it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, coming off the championship, as a matter of fact, just about 24 hours ago. And for you, coming off the injury last year, this had to be very gratifying to enjoy the year you did.
Oh yeah, just to be with the team for the whole season. It was great, especially a group of guys that was in Montgomery and Durham. Especially in Durham, as soon as we got there, we were right into the playoff run. So it was nice. Nice.
Now you got the opportunity here to meet with some of the players prior to the game. Saw you guys in the hallway kind of shaking hands. And is it a motivating factor to be here and to be this close to it?
Yeah, definitely. We know most of the guys from spring training and Durham anyways, but just being here and seeing everybody, and it makes us want to work that much harder and get here next year.
Well, these two guys were a big part of Durham's success and a big part of the Rays' future. If you had one thing that you think you want to work on in the offseason, you got a lot of tools and a lot of skills. One thing you think you need to work on for next year?
I can name a lot more than one. I don't know. Everything. Hitting, getting good reads in the outfield, getting good jumps on the base pass. Still got a lot of work to do. Just not on just one thing. It's a few things.
future of the organization out here, guys, as the minor league award winners enjoy some time at Tropicana Field. Guys, thanks. Back upstairs.
All right, here's a pop to Aki off the bat of McDonald, and he takes care of that on the 2-2 pitch. So McDonald is retired. It's always a special evening when you see all the minor leaguers who have had great years, and those two certainly have. Desmond Jennings and Jeremy Hellickson. I'll tell you, those are two names that you might want to remember, and we're looking forward to their continued progress and success, and eventually to see them in Rays uniforms up here.
Yeah, those guys have unbelievable potential, and you would be shocked if you didn't see them here at Tropicana Field within a couple of years. And both of them have exceptional talent.
Pitch is down. 2-0. I thought Desmond Jennings had the right answers to. There's one thing you want to work on. What would it be? So there are a lot of things that but that's right down Joe Madden's alley too. When he talked about this club coming off all the success it had last year, his humility and gratitude and working on getting better. And it's great to hear him say that.
Well, when you win, Southern League MVP, and then you get up to AAA Durham and you have success, including a 7-hit night, coming off an injured year, it's easy to get a big hit.
Yep.
But he's got everything under control, it sounds like. He has a lot to work on, but he's got a chance to be a really nice player.
And Bautista's out, missing the changeup. Well, he had singled on a fastball first time up, and Shields disposes of him with the changeup here in the third.
Nice movement there on Shields. He got a little downward and actually had a little screwball action on that. That ball looked like it came back in a little bit to catch the plate. It didn't matter if Bautista swung at that. That was a perfect pitch on the outer half of the plate and down.
2 outs in the third. Here's Aaron Hill. Pitch in off the plate. Wanted nothing.
No, in Shields' last start, he hit 95 a couple of times, and Joe Madden said, well, that radar gun at Fenway's a little bit hot, but still, he said that's impressive because that still translates to 93, maybe 94. And we've seen him unleash a few 93s today, and when he's bringing that heat a little bit to go along with that changeup, that could be a deadly combination for Shields.
Pitch is too low. 2-1.
You hear about getting in a rhythm as a pitcher, and we saw that last night with Wade Davis. We're seeing it tonight again with Shields. After that first inning, it seems like he and Zahn are in a real nice rhythm right now.
Well, the 2-1. Hill hits a high fly ball down the left field line into foul territory, and Crawford runs out of room. That ball is out of play. And the count squares. 2-2 to Aaron Hill. James Shields, 41-35 in his major league career. 14-game winner last year, 9-11 right now. That runs the count all the way out.
By the way, those guys you saw with Durham, even though they won the Governor's Cup, they still get one more game, AAA championship on Tuesday. So they get to relax for the weekend, enjoy Tropicana Field, and then play one more game for the title.
Tap foul. Have won the International League as AAA affiliate for the Rays. They won it in 02 and 03, and winning it this year.
This year was really impressive based on how many different players were called up to the Rays in the last couple of weeks.
Adam Lynn pitches a strike, says Larry Vanover.
Not to mention John Weber's playing in an international event. He was one of the key guys offensively. So they've had a lot of guys fill in roles there for Charlie Montoya and done a great job.
Fine drive into right. That's in there for a base hit. Stopping at second is Hill. And Lind is 2 for 2.
It's a deadly little combination there in the Jays lineup. You've got Aaron Hill who'll just battle you, and he put together a great battle against Shields before the walk. And then right behind him comes Adam Lind. That pitch was a little higher than Shields would have wanted. He's left a couple of pitches up to Adam Lind, and this guy's too good a hitter when you get the ball up to him.
Well, there's Lind. He was the one guy that Cito Gaston was adamant about getting his bat in the lineup every day. And he has certainly demonstrated why Gaston fell like that. Wave and a miss by Vernon Wells. Wells with a couple of men on base. He was ready for the fastball and got the changeup instead. Strike the count. Pretty close there. 1-1.
Neat thing about having Greg Zahn behind the plate when he faces his former team is you look at that 1-0 pitch, or excuse me, 0-1 pitch a little bit low. Now it's 1-1. Is that Zahn can think along with these hitters because a lot of times he's played with them like Vernon Wells, so he tries to stay one step ahead.
Wells out in front again.
So he's 1-1. Wells was looking fastball for the first pitch. Nice little breaking ball there. 1-2.
First two men were retired before Hill walked and Lind singled into right. Foul ball. Had to get the fastball by him, and he fought it off there.
Not a bad idea when you're down in the count. You're always in protect mode a little bit against the changeup, so they thought they could sneak a fastball by him. They did strike out Wells the first time on a changeup. Sometimes, like Lyle Overbay, though, you're expecting maybe a changeup. You get a fastball, you take it for a called third strike.
Pitch down and in. He tried to come in with the changeup there.
This pitch has a lot of darting movement in. That changeup really moved a lot laterally, and it moved off the plate.
And you can see that late movement from that great overhead shot there. This one fouled away. Well, Shields with that little darting action with a cutter, and then that change, he's got pitches moving in opposite directions, which is always a good sign for a pitcher. If you can do that, you've got a chance to pitch in the big leagues successfully. It's quite a battle going on right now. Another changeup fouled.
That's another changeup that's just diving into the right-handers. There's a lot of lateral movement on these changeups. I think Shields a little frustrated because he thought he had him set up there for a swing and a miss and a changeup away, and it caught a little more of the plate than he wanted.
Hill at second, Lind at first. And a liner, one hop past the diving Bartlett. Crawford, that's Upton with the pickup. Hill has scored. Lind goes to third and into second. Wells. That makes it a 2-0 game.
Well, Vernon Wells, we mentioned before the game, has been hot, hitting .500 over his last 10 games. That changeup didn't have the great movement there, but good job by Wells in that at bat. He kept fighting off tough pitches, got another changeup away that stayed just enough on the plate, and he was able to lace it into left center field. He is feeling it lately at the plate. Vernon Wells may be a different hitter than we've seen the previous few trips in.
So an 11-game hitting streak now for Wells. He had another hitting streak of 10 games earlier this year. Now 11. Overbay back of first, but right there Ibar will make the play unassisted. He'll retire the side. A run, 2 left. 2-0 Toronto as we head to the bottom of the third. Between, we'll bring you in-depth news, stories, and scores 24 hours a day only at TampaBay.com. Top of the order, Jason Bartlett. Raised down by 2, and Bartlett takes the first pitch from Scott Richmond for a strike. Richmond now 30 years old. And he's quickly ahead of Bartlett 0-2. He was signed as a non-drafted free agent in November of 07. Pitched in the independent leagues.
This guy did not take your normal route to the major leagues. Everything in his life has come late.
Two-strike pitch again. Too low. Fastball darts down. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Didn't even go to college for a while.
It's a little looper into right field. Going to fall in there for a single. Bartlett has his first hit of the night. That's 150 on the year for Jason Bartlett. Hey, visit the official online shop of the Rays at RaysBaseball.com. Browse the largest online selection of authentic team gear, including official caps, t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and a whole lot more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Here's Carl Crawford. Too high. Carl singled his first time. His average now 304. Out of play, foul back. 1-1.
Mentioned Richmond at times can be wild to left-handers. He's walked a lot more lefties per bat than righties. And also tonight out of the stretch, seems like he has real good command out of the windup, but out of the stretch hasn't had that pinpoint accuracy.
Pitch is high. We talked earlier about Carl Crawford and the kind of year he's had, and this is the way he stacks up against other left fielders in the American League. Second in hitting, first, of course, in steals and hits, and fourth in runs scored. He's been superb defensively. Count goes to 2-2.
I think there's no doubt if they gave out gold gloves per position, left field would go to Carl Crawford. Unfortunately, a lot of center fielders end up winning the gold glove, and Crawford yet to win one, but he's certainly close.
There's ball 3, a breaking ball. And the count is full.
That pitch right there is one that in past years we would have seen Carl maybe chase 2 strikes, trying to protect the plate, maybe expanding the zone. But this year, his knowledge of the strike zone has been so strong compared to other years, and that's been one of the keys for him offensively.
To first and back in is Bartlett. And for most of the year, Crawford all year has been so much better with 2 strikes and defeating a lot of pitches down and away. There goes Bartlett. The pitch is skied into right center field. Well hit. One hop and to the wall. Bartlett's around third on his way to the plate. Crawford's on his way to third with a stand-up triple. And the Rays are on the scoreboard on Crawford's 8th triple of the year. With Bartlett on the move, he scores, and Crawford has his 64th run batted into the year.
Carl Crawford hitting the ball in the gap, and he is off and racing. This is fun to watch. Crawford around the bases. He just glides. Watch him coming out of the box. As soon as he sees that ball in the gap, it's just a matter of Jason Bartlett had the read on it. Almost there, but he just gliding around second. No chance, not even a throw. And a pretty good read by Bartlett, too, who was on the move and had to pick up the ball right away.
Well, here's Evan Longoria now. Evan shoots a base hit through the hole into left. Crawford scores, and this game is tied 2-2. No waiting around for Longoria. He jumped on the first pitch and drives in his 105th run of the year.
Well, right back come the Rays with a couple of runs for James Shields. They haven't always scored a lot of runs for Shields this year. This ball on the inner half of the plate, the Jays wanted it away. See where Barajas is set up and see that ball almost middle. A little bit on the inner half, and Evan Longoria just took that right into left field for another RBI.
Here's Ben Zobrist. This pitch is a strike. So Crawford, who we just saw there, 2 for 2 tonight. That gives him 6 of 9 lifetime against Richmond. This one the other way toward the left field line. That's going to fall. A fair ball back toward the corner. Over to third goes Longoria. That's a double for Zobrist, and the Rays have another threat. A 2-base hit the other way for Ben Zobrist.
Another nice job of base running by the Rays. 2 good jobs of picking up the ball and making a decision right away. Bartlett on the Crawford triple after he was on the move, finding the ball. And now Evan Longoria from his angle between first and second. It's tough to tell if that ball was going to hang up, but he made his decision right away that Snyder wasn't going to get there, and it was the right one to allow Zobrist to get a double and get into third himself.
Now Willie Ibar stands in there. 2 men in scoring position. Pitch down and in, blocked by Barajas. Ball, no strikes. So the Rays with 4 consecutive hits to open the third. Brian Wolf is going to get up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays and begin to throw. Ibar started to go. Did he? He did not. The right-hander Wolf getting ready down the left field side. Ball 3.
Frustration right now starting to take over Scott Richmond. He just is in a real good rhythm out of the windup, a little bit shakier out of the stretch, just can't seem to find that consistent release point out of the stretch. And this game has quickly gotten away from him here in the 3rd inning after he had a couple of shutout innings to start.
3-0 count to Ibar. And that's a strike. Got the fastball in there in the upper part of the strike zone. 3-1.
Will he be ready if he comes back with that same pitch? That was take all the way.
3-1 and a ground ball through the right side base hit. Longoria scores. They'll stop Zobrist at 3rd. And the Rays take a 3-2 lead. So Ibar continues the hit parade. 5 hits in a row. So the Rays now lead 3-2.
On that recent road trip, the Rays' offensive woes well documented. Outstanding sign in the first game of the homestand to see the Rays break out here with 5 consecutive hits. That was half a game's worth. That would have been a nice half a game's worth in a lot of those road games. So the Rays' offense coming alive against Scott Richmond.
Cito Gaston out of the dugout, headed to the mound to make a pitching change here. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Metro PCS. Unlimit yourself. Visiting RaysBaseball.com. Richmond departs. Ryan Wolf enters the game.
Ryan Wolf, fastball, curveball, slider, taking over here. And situation in the 3rd inning with his team down 3-2. 12th appearance on the year for Toronto. 1-2 with a 7.30 earned run average. Opponents are hitting .377 against him, and a frustrated Scott Richmond after he sailed through 6 innings.
Greg Zahn with men at 1st and 3rd. Nobody out of the inning. Pitches away. Called from Las Vegas on the 1st of September. Zahn tried to check and went around. Take the count to 1-1.
Greg Zahn, one of the few players without the batting gloves, did not check that swing after his call.
Breaking ball dropped in. Good Zahn behind in the count, a ball, 2 strikes.
Zahn had a call on him the first time up that he didn't like from Larry Vanover, and that time he felt like that was out of the zone, a little low. Oh, he does the veteran move and steps outside of the batter's box and just has a quick word or 2 on his way back into the box.
And a high shot back into deep right center field. That's got some carry on it and will be in between Bautista and Wells. Zobrist scores. Ibar to third. It's a double by Zahn, and the Rays make it a 4-2 game. Zahn picking up his 17th double of the year.
What an offensive outbreak for the Rays. Welcome back home, Tampa Bay, as our checkers double the game is provided by Greg Zahn. This ball was in the air for a while. It looked like Vernon Wells or Bautista may be able to get there, but it bisected the Jays outfielders perfectly right in between them. And so Zahn ends up with a double. And it's fun to see this offense come alive.
It's a bit more reminiscent of what we got used to there for a long while. Zakadori Iwamura with 2 men in scoring position. Rocky doubled his first time, takes the first pitch for a strike.
Take that stretch of hitting all the way back to Aki's last at bat. 8 of the 9 Rays have reached base. Only B.J. Upton was retired for the final out of the second.
Aki takes a look and it's wide. Single by Bartlett, the triple by Crawford, a base hit by Longoria, double by Zobrist, the single by Ibar. That was it for Richmond. Then the double by Zahn off Wolf. 2 men in scoring position. It's a 4-run inning. And Iwamura sends a fly ball down the left side. That slices out of play and advances the count to 1-2.
Aki's got an RBI waiting for him if he puts the ball on the ground. The Blue Jays have been conceding the run lately, just trying to pick up an out. So the infield's been back. Aki trying to drive that ball deep in the air in left field. But at this point, 2 strikes you've got to protect and just get your bat on the ball. Pick up another RBI and another run for the Rays.
The 28-year-old right-hander Brian Wolf in relief. Way wide. 2-2. Wolf originally drafted by the Minnesota Twins. The high school in the Anaheim area in California. A foul ball. Aki just a piece of it to stay alive.
Second chance for Rocky. That ball was almost held on to by Rod Barajas.
Ibar at third, Zahn at second. Four 8-0 for the Rays. 2-4-0 for the Blue Jays. Aki starts to go. The pitch down and in. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Wolf never got to the big leagues with Minnesota. Maybe his major league debut with the Blue Jays in 07, spent part of 07 and part of 08 with the Blue Jays, and part of this year, most of the time in Las Vegas. And another one down the left side, and that's got some slice to it and is out of play.
Aki's got a little power the other way when he gets those outside fastballs. You can drive him out towards left. A lot of pitches for Aki in 2AB. That's what you call getting the pitch count up on your opposition.
Another 3-2 pitch. And that's inside for ball 4. He walks to load the bases. Still nobody out.
Really good plate appearance there, Dwayne. He was just battling that whole time. Wasted a couple of outside pitches. That was a close pitch at 3-2, but Hockey knew it was a little too far inside. Elicits a smile from the Rays second baseman.
So Gabe Gross hits with the bases loaded. The career average 444 with the bases loaded for Gabe Gross. The pitch is away. 1 ball, no strikes. Came into this game pushing 280 as a career average here at Tropicana Field. He takes ball 2 high, 2-0.
One of those innings where the Rays are just putting things together, and the struggles on the recent road trip, they would have taken this for an entire game a lot of times, but they're getting in 1 inning.
Fouls it back. He took a cut there, fouling it. 2-1. Yeah, during that losing streak, the Rays are averaging about 2 runs a game. They have 4 in this inning. Going to even the count. 2-2.
That's one Gabe would like back. That was a pitch that was middle, a little bit low, but not a lot of movement. And a 2-1, that's a hitter's pitch. He just missed that.
Richmond worked 2+. Now Wolf. Full count.
Cito's going to try and see some of these guys in September in situations. He wants to see what Brian Wolf has here early in the game. Moved to the bullpen quickly when Scott Richmond got in trouble. Big spot here. This team's in danger of giving up a huge number here in the 3rd inning.
A great chance for the Rays to perhaps break this thing wide open in the 3rd. 3-2 to liner into right. That's in there for a base hit. Ibar scores. The bases will remain loaded. It's now a 5-run inning and a 5-2 lead for the Rays. Gross strokes the 3-2 pitch into right, driving in another run.
The Rays keep rolling along here in the 3rd inning as Gabe Gross on a 3-2 pitch into right field with the RBI. You can see this pitch just on the inner half of the plate. Great, Gabe Gross with his 35th RBI. Greg Zahn held up a little bit at second base to make sure that ball was going to drop, so he didn't have any chance to score. Tom Foley didn't have any choice but to hold him up. So, very unusual circumstance where the guy makes the final out of the 2nd inning and comes up to bat in the 3rd with nobody out.
The Rays have put 8 straight men on base here. More action in the bullpen.
Dirk Hayhurst.
So all 5 runs charged to Richmond. And now the 3 men on base belong to Wolf. 7 hits and a walk. Here's Upton. BJ takes a pitch outside. 1 ball, no strikes. BJ Grounded out his first time. Pitch is low. 2 balls, no strikes.
What a nice spot to be in if you're the Rays. Runners all over the place. You've got hitters getting ahead of the count. Things are rolling offensively.
Upton takes a cut at the fastball and misses. 2-1.
EJ kind of nodding his head there, saying, all right, missed that one, but we'll see what happens if I get another pitch like that.
And a ground ball to second. Hill goes to McDonald. McDonald one-hops it to first to complete the double play. A run scores. Zahn crosses the plate, but the 6th run. Hockey goes to third.
BJ right off the end of the bat. McDonald gets flipped at second, but he makes the turn easily as he bounces it in there. Great job by Gabe Gross trying to break up the double play. BJ didn't get down the line all that well, and he was easily doubled up. Cost himself an RBI. He beat that throw at the fielder's choice in a ribby.
That's right. I thought for a moment he might beat that back end of the double play, but McDonald turned it quickly, and now a shot to center field off the bat of Bartlett. Wells back to make the catch, and that retires the side. The Rays score 6. They send 10 men to the plate and lead 6-2. Under our wing before Wade Davis and his victory last night. Who was the last Rays rookie to pitch a complete game shutout for his first big league win? Pitch is inside to Edwin Encarnacion to start the 4th. 1-0.
I like that question.
That is a good question, isn't it? It has happened before, so it's not a trick question. 1-1. Wade Davis, very impressive last night in his first big league win. A 4-hit shutout. That's a strike to Encarnacion, and it's a 1-2 count. Foul the other way, holding the count at 1-2. Rojas next, and then Snyder. pitch up.
Shields realized it too. He snapped that ball back from Greg Zaun, not happy with himself. If there's one little area that James would probably wish he could improve on this year, is occasionally when he has gotten a lot of run support, he's given a couple of those back. And that's the only area that he'd probably like to improve.
Short center. That ball's going to fall in front of Upton. And Encarnacion has a leadoff single. Upton trying to get the measure of that ball, saw it drop in front of him. Last night, Wade Davis, 124 pitches, and boy, that was a great job of pitching.
He just locked in with Navarro too. Joe Madden said before the game he thinks it's just been circumstances that have put Navarro behind there, but he thinks he will give him another start together just because those two have worked so well. That's about as much emotion as you'll see from Wade Davis as he slapped that glove after that final strikeout with the battle with Nick Markakis.
Rod Barajas. The pitch is a strike. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone in that kind of situation after the game, where he had just won his first big league game and had struck out 10 and shut out a major league team to do it. As to say that he was collected and calm is an understatement.
It was amazing. I felt like I was talking to a guy who had just woken up in the library. I mean, he was so calm, so cool. He was putting away those Orioles hitters quickly, just like he was some of my questions in the post game. He was just, everything was okay. Even the pie in the face didn't faze him.
And I've got to say, I really like that about him. And his demeanor on the mound and how he goes about his business. Up the right side, foul, out of play, and the count is still 2 strikes. There's a nice grab. Yes, sir.
Moving down a few rows to get that ball, too.
You got to have range.
Yeah, I agree with you. This guy has shown a lot of poise in just 3 major league starts. We heard a lot about his build, his makeup as one of his strengths, and he certainly showed that last night in his first start here at Tropicana Field.
Barajas, just a little bit of that one, and he got a little bit of Zahn on that foul ball. Yeah, you know, after he got that shaving cream pie, I mean, and Longoria and Garza out there, I mean, they did a pretty good job. And you still have that same calm, cool, and collected demeanor.
Yeah, it barely phased him.
That's the only part that didn't remind me of someone that you talked with who had just had a nap at the library. I've never seen anybody with the shaving cream pie at the library, but I'll tell you, it was a very impressive performance all the way around.
Yes, the reaction was, okay, that just happened. Now I'll get a towel and clean myself off.
Swing and a miss. Barajas out of there. First out here in the 4th. Strikeout number 6 for Shields.
A lot of strikeouts for James early on. Just 1 out into the 4th inning, and that time he got a nice little tailing fastball in to Barajas. Shields with 6 strikeouts already. Earlier when I said the only thing he'd like to change is maybe keeping those big leads, I think his win-loss total he's probably a little frustrated with too. But I think, you know, Shields back at home again tonight, feeling good about things early on now that he's got a 4-run lead to work with.
There's Travis Snyder. And that's a strike. Snyder struck out swinging his first time. Yeah, those shutdown innings after your team has a big inning, they are important. You're in a position where you can really, I don't know if demoralize is too strong a word, but that's what you're trying to do to the opposition after you've just put up 5 or 6. In this case, the Rays scored 6 in the bottom of the 3rd. Foul out of play, back to 3rd, and a broken bat. So Snyder gets a new one.
And it's not like James isn't aware of it. He knows he's had a couple situations this year where he's put his team in a great position to win games, and they just haven't scored from him. And he's also aware at times that they've given him a big lead, and he's made it a closer game than it should be. So I think he's putting a lot of importance on this shutdown inning as well. That was a nice job getting in on the hands of Travis Snyder. He's got to set up for yet another changeup to try and pick up another strikeout here.
One on, one out in the fourth. Two balls, two strikes.
Out by the young hitter not to chase. He had a broken bat, so going back for the new lumber, he's thinking, all right, he's going to try and put me away with a changeup. Don't go chasing. And Shields threw a pretty good one, but he didn't offer it.
Runner at first, and the pitch. That is strike three call. Strikeout number 7 tonight. Snyder caught looking. Here's that strikeout pitch.
And he's thinking, all right, he might double up on changeups, and instead he gets a pitch called strike on the outside part of the plate, and it just misses the plate. You can see there, it was not on the corner, but close enough with 2 strikes that Doug Man's probably got to swing at that.
John McDonald. Foul. Strike one. Rays last year 11-7 against the Blue Jays. They're 11-4 right now. Finished 6-3 against them in Toronto, and they've won 5 of 6 here. Ground ball, third base fair behind the bag. Longoria's throw is in time. No run to hit, one left. Bottom of the fourth coming. 6-2 Rays. To get the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Aflac, we've got you under our wing before Wade Davis picked up a win last night. Who was the last Rays rookie pitcher to throw a complete game shutout in his first big league victory? The answer is Travis Harper. He did it against the Blue Jays September 24th of 2000. Here's a look. A flashback at Travis Harper.
I love it. The old unis, the old Devil Rays gray unis with the rainbow Devil Ray on the cap. Steve Cox making the play at first base for the final out.
There have been others, and since 2000, here's the list. Wade Davis, the most recent, last night. Leading off the Rays half of the fourth is Carl Crawford, taking ball 1 from Brian Wolf. That not only was the only shutout for Travis, that was his only complete game.
Wow. He shares another distinction with Wade Davis. he and Wade Davis, in the history of the Rays or the Devil Rays, the only players to wear number 58. Don Zimmer has worn it in going through his progressive numerical change. But those are the only two players. So they share the shutout and the numerology. There's Wade.
Travis Harper with the Rays from 2000 up through the 2006 season.
He really was a valuable part of that team as they were growing. He filled a lot of different roles.
He did. He really did. He started. He worked out of the bullpen in various roles. Ground ball headed toward the middle. McDonald with a great pickup and throw, not in time. Well, John McDonald tried to rob Crawford of a base hit. Carl is 3 for 3 tonight. Well, McDonald is something at shortstop, and Crawford beat that one.
We mentioned in our Sweet Base Supermarket defensive alignment, this guy always seems to make one spectacular play a game against the Rays. And I'll tell you what, most shortstops don't even come close to picking that ball up. And if they do, they don't make the throw against Crawford. Somehow he spun 360 and still made a decent throw. It was offline a little bit, but that's a really nice drive by McDonald with Crawford's speed. No way.
So Crawford's aboard. The Rays in double figures with 10 hits. And Evan Longoria takes it low. Ball, no strikes. Well, with a lot of runners, McDonald still would have had time to get him, but not Carl Crawford.
That's a couple of nice plays in back-to-back innings. He made that nice flip throw after Gabe Gross took him out of the double play in the third. And then, even though he didn't get the out there, that was pretty special.
Ball 2 to Evan Longoria. Evan is way ahead in the count. 3-0.
Cito Gaston's a guy that really likes watching hitters. He just says he learns a lot by watching the way guys stand in the box, the way the guys work pitchers, and he really had nothing but great things to say about Evan Longoria and his approach. He's just very impressed with this young guy.
That's going to be a strike.
He says he
One in the corner.
Sorry, Dwayne. He says he looks like he goes up there every time with a plan and looking for something. And he says he stays so quiet, he can just attack those pitches to any part of the field. He just really, really likes the way Longo attacks things.
There is ball 4. So the base hit followed by the walk. The Rays have the first 2 men on. Rays Summer Concert Series presented by Hess Express. Tomorrow night, the Rays take on the Blue Jays for Festival Latino. Join us for the free post-game concert featuring Tito Nieves. Visit RaysBaseball.com to get your tickets.
A little bonus coverage for the Hess Express Summer Concert Series.
Ben Zobrist taking a pitch down and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Action again in the Blue Jays bullpen. Just checking that Travis Harper shutout. There's Hayhurst up again. Last night, Wade Davis made 124 pitches. A 4-hit shutout. For Harper, it was a 2-hit shutout. 128 pitches.
Wow.
That's strike 1 call, 2-1. 10 strikeouts for Wade last night. He walked 2. Harper had 3 strikeouts in his and walked 1. Ground ball through the right side. There's a base hit. Crawford's on his way to the plate. He will score without a play. The Rays now tack on another run. It's 7-2. Zobrist driving in a run. Longoria stopped at second. Cito Gaston is up and out of the dugout again as Zobrist drives in the first run here of the fourth inning. That's going to be it for Brian Wolf. Call goes to the bullpen. We'll be back in a moment. You under our wing by Gulf Coast Honda. Visit GulfCoastHondaDealers.com to find great deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by Amscott, you're okay with us. The Rays have built a 7-2 lead. Willie Ibar's on his way to the plate. Dirk Hayhurst will be the new pitcher. 13 of the last 16 Rays hitters have reached base.
Dirk Hayhurst back from AAA Las Vegas when September rosters were expanded.
Pitch is outside. The Rays have 11 hits, 7 runs. Men at first and second, and nobody out here in the fourth. Breaking ball that started wide and broke in. 1-1 to count.
Hayhurst's 14th appearance with Toronto. Pretty good numbers thus far in a couple stints. ERA right around 1.5.
Ground ball, second base. Hill to McDonald out there, and there will be no throw to first this time. Longoria moves to third as Ibar reaches on a fielder's choice. First and third with 1 out.
Ben Zobrist forced at second after his RBI base hit. I wonder if it's an odd night for Ben, because as well as he has moved around the field all season long, he's never really had to fill the role of designated hitter. It's always unusual for a guy his first time as the DH, because you're used to a routine. Usually right now he'd be grabbing his glove, getting ready to go back out there, but now it's a whole different ballgame for him. All right, now what do I do?
Got to find things to do.
Yeah, I don't need my hat or glove for a while. Just kind of sit here.
Greg Zahn in the batter's box. Missed the fastball, strike one. Zahn 1 for 2. He kissed one in the third, doubled into right center field, driving in a run. One strike count. One and one. Crawford led off with a base hit and has scored the run.
Now, Hayhurst was a guy who was at Kent State the same time Andy Sonnenstein was there. Hayhurst was the ace.
A little roller foul outside of first. 1 and 2.
Hayhurst was a junior, the ace of the Kent State Golden Flashes when Sonnenstein was in his freshman year, as the redshirted this freshman year. So they weren't really teammates, but they were on the same university team.
Breaking ball, and it's foul. Almost the same spot. Third pitcher of this game for Toronto, Dirk Hayhurst. The Rays saw him when he was with the Blue Jays earlier this year, back in July. Covered up by Barajas, 2-2. He worked 3 innings against the Rays in a game. Three innings and gave up a run in a game eventually won by the Rays on July the 8th here, 10-9. Still 2-2 Devon. Greg Zahn caught looking his first time. Coming into this game with the double tonight on the run batted in. It's 25 runs batted in for the year now, 12 of those with the Rays. He was hitting over 290 since coming to the Rays. That's just foul outside the third base bag.
That did not miss by much. Probably a foot away from being an RBI double. Almost all of Zahn's at bats with the Rays have been left-handed. Pitch that was away, just kind of slapped at it down the line, and that did not miss the bag by much.
And he checks on a pitch away, a fastball outside. Full count.
They're good at bat for the Rays today. They've worked a lot of deep counts, working on their third pitcher for Toronto.
And a foul ball again, so another extended at bat. And a base hit out of the reach of Encarnacion. Longoria scores. The Rays pick up their 8th run. Zahn drives in his second of the night. Ibar stopped at second on Zahn's RBI single the other way.
Great to see this offense, and another nice job by Greg Zahn. Similar to the other ball that went down the third baseline. He gets an outside pitch. Encarnacion gets a piece of his glove on it. Just enough to slow it down as it went into left field. Another RBI for Zahn, and the Rays offense continues to roll the last couple of innings.
Zahn, the first multiple RBI guy of the night in this game. Crawford has one. Longoria has one. Zobrist and Ibar each have one. Gross one. 1 run scored on the up in double play, and Zahn with 2 runs batted in. Uzaki taking ball 1. Mora has a double and a walk tonight. One ball, 1 strike. And at first and second with 1 out. The Rays have added 2 runs in the 4th on top of a 6-run third. Strike at the knees. 1-2. Balls, 2 strikes on a breaking ball. Well, the Expos, even with the September call-ups, have not gone to excess with their bullpen. They have a 9-man bullpen. At one time during the regular season, the Rays had an 8-man bullpen that was carrying 25 men. Aki lays off on the pitch high. This is the 3rd consecutive full count Aki has had. With 3-2 in the second double, 3-2 and walked in the third. He's 3-2 here in the 4th.
Of the guys that have decent playing time this year, Aki and Gabe Gross have been the 2 guys that have been 1-2 in pitches per plate appearance.
And a bouncing ball shortstop. McDonald goes to Hill. Hill to first, out there. The call. Aki thought he beat the throw. 6-4-3. We're through 4, and the Rays lead 8-2.
Dramatic win yesterday in Baltimore. A lot of outstanding defensive plays in that game, including this one by Fernando Perez. Now, Perez, who had that wrist worked on, in fact, missed much of the season due to a surgically repaired wrist, injured the wrist on that play. But Joe Madden telling us before the game today that Perez is okay. He's just sore. And in fact, he would be available as a pinch runner if needed, although probably would not be swinging the bat or playing any defense. But Perez okay after what looked like pretty heavy stuff there in Baltimore last night, guys.
Yeah, there was instant concern about that. Here's we go to the 5th. The Rays lead 8-2, and here's Todd Callis.
Going to lead off base hit in the 5th inning for Jose Batista as he delivers his 2nd hit of the night. He's 2 for 3. Yeah, Perez had a little scare there in center field. Talked to him before the game. He said it wasn't a sharp pain, but he definitely felt it, and you could see in his next at bat that swinging the bat left-handed wasn't going to work well for him.
Yeah, he tried to bunt even with 2 strikes. He tried to put down a bunt, fouled it with a strikeout, and that's too bad. It's you really hate to see anybody. Fernando's such a nice talent. He works hard. You hate to see him miss the amount of time he's missed from development time, really.
Maybe a day or 2 down. We'll see how Fernando recovers, but I don't expect it'll be very long before he's back in there. Aaron Hill is the batter. Grounded back to the pitcher, James Shields, and walked and scored a run his last time up. Shields working with a 6-run lead here in the 5th. Hill checks away, 1-1. Well, in this season for Shields, in which he hasn't had a whole lot of run support, he has had a couple of big single-game breakouts for the offense. Tonight notwithstanding, we'll see how far the Rays can take their total of 8 runs. But he had 11 runs in Detroit the final day of August. He also had 11 runs of support in Baltimore in his second start. But despite those 2 big displays, and tonight's going to add to that total, he was coming into tonight 4th in the American League in terms of lowest run support per start. Here's a ball ripped foul by Hill. It's 2-2.
Well, you'd certainly love to see him pick up a win tonight, because he'd love to finish at or over 500. And you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, but the Rays do have a 6-run lead here. If he should win this, he'd be 10-11, and probably a couple more starts. If he pushed it, he could get 3, but I'm going to guess 2.
Line drive caught by Evan Longoria for out number 1. Follow your Tampa Bay Rays all year long by logging on to The Heater. It's the official baseball blog of the St. Petersburg Times. Every day, Rays beat writers Mark Topkin and Joe Smith bring you thoughtful insight, breaking news, predictions, and more only at TampaBay.com. 8-2 Rays, 5th inning. James Shields work to Adam Lind, who has a couple of singles against him. Shields has allowed 6 hits to this point. I think you're right. 15 starts or 15 games to go, and Joe Madden and Jim Hickey can play with the rotation a little bit with a couple of off days. But I think a couple more starts after tonight sounds right. Shields last year, 215 regular season innings. Here's a ground ball to Ibar. He'll make the throw to second. They get the force there. Relay, double play, nicely turned by Jason Bartlett to end the 5th. So we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning, Rays leading 8-2. Ibar to Jason Bartlett, and Bartlett makes the turn. For Carl Crawford, then Greg's on second hit of the night, this time to the opposite field. He has a couple of RBIs. Crawford has scored a couple of runs. Evan Longoria has scored a couple of runs. And some hijinks in our bottle race tonight. Sierra Mist getting a victory on this Friday night. And afterwards, unsportsmanlike conduct from Aquafina.
You know, we found that there frequently are hijinks there, and might warrant some type of investigation.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Sore loser was Aquafina tonight with a late hit. Here's Gabe Gross, walked and singled, scored a run, or knocked in a run rather, his last time up with that bases loaded hit that you saw a moment ago. Dirk Hayhurst in there for the Blue Jays. Gross behind in the count, 0-2. The Rays scoring 8 runs in 4 innings so far tonight to kick off this homestand. Coming off a road trip of 11 games in which they scored just 26 runs the entire 11-game stretch. 1-2 the count to Gross. Gabe Gross, B.J. Upton. Back to the top of the order for Jason Bartlett here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Rays have 12 hits to Toronto's 6. Rays coming off that road trip. A trip anytime in September with 3 cities or more is going to seem long, but especially the way that played out.
You know, 7+ hours of rain delay and 2 essentially day-night doubleheaders.
Ball third strike outside corner. Gabe Gross thought it was a bit outside. That's the first strikeout for Dirk Hayhurst. Let's take a look at our Buick Pontiac GMC dealers road ahead, and that road leads us to tomorrow's game with Ricky Romero on the mound for Toronto. 12 wins in his rookie campaign. He'll be opposed by Matt Garza. The lefty Romero against Matt Garza looking for his 8th win. See that game on Fox Sports Florida beginning at 6:30 with our Rays Live pregame show. E.J. Upton, the batter, takes a pitch up high for a ball, 1-0. Upton grounded out his first time and hit into a bases-loaded double play his last time up. Good breaking ball from Hayhurst, 1-1. There's Matt Garza going tomorrow. He has almost uncanny similar numbers from last year's final regular season totals to where he is right now.
And don't forget, tomorrow night is also the Matt Garza figurine to every fan in attendance, and it's so good that Ryan Anderson wants to use that as a teaching tool because of the delivery. The form of that delivery is about as good as you're going to get.
There are a lot of guys that do great community service for this team, but Matt Garza is right up there among the best, so we're going to have to get him some extra figurines to take around to schools and Little League fields. It's amazing that Garza's found somebody to talk to. It seems like he's usually shy and reserved there in the dugout. 1-2 pitch. That's our buddy Todd Green, by the way. The Rays in September are allowed an extra coach in the dugout.
It's good to see him in uniform out there.
Absolutely. So he and your partner and our partner Brian Anderson not together in the back room like they normally are. Here's a ball skied in the left center. The Vernon Wells will make the catch for the second out. Well, let's take a look at that figurine, Dwayne. All fans, every fan, not kids, not just adults, every fan getting this figurine presented by Sponge Tech tomorrow. Visit RaysBaseball.com to get your tickets.
And that delivery seems to be completely in sync there.
Good balance, good extension. Matt Garza tomorrow, he's fired up about it. You know what he is fired up about? Here's Jason Bartlett, who has nobody on. He talked about the consistency early about James Shields, 200 innings, 200 innings, 200. Garza's got a chance to get there this year. He's got about 3 more starts like Shields. And he's really excited about breaking that plateau for the first time at any level. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. That's kind of the line of demarcation for a starting pitcher. When you've had that full 30-plus start season, you get to 200 innings, you put in a really nice year.
As we touched on earlier, it's something that managers love to have pitchers that they can count on to give them right around 200 or more innings. And if they can do that, then it puts their minds at rest from that part of the game. Because if you get quality innings out of a starting rotation, you know you're going to be right there in most of those games with a chance to win.
And Gardner's found another audience. I think he talks to almost every guy in the dugout at one point or another on his non-starting days. He's got the skipper's ear for a while there in between the bench coach Davey Martinez. Davey there on the right, on his right. Davey doesn't seem too interested in what Matt has to say.
That's concentration right there. Davey Martinez is paying attention to the game and not distracted by that tapping in the middle of his back.
2-2 the count on Bartlett. 2 outs. Nobody on. Rays leading 8-2 in their kickoff game to this 5-game homestand, the penultimate homestand in the 2009 season. 2-2 pitch from Hayhurst up high and another good at bat. Rays have taken a lot of counts full in this game. Jason Bartlett, not surprisingly, one of those guys working a good count. Staying alive at 3-2. 6-run third, 2-run fourth. Rays lead at 8-2. Third pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays in the game, Dirk Hayhurst, working his first full inning of work. Came on in the fourth with runners aboard and nobody out. Bartlett pops it up left side of the infield. John McDonald calls off Encarnacion and makes the play. That'll do it for the Rays in the fifth. 1, 2, 3 inning for Hayhurst. We head to the sixth. It is 8-2 Rays. Players, and if the Rays throw 10 strikeouts in a home game, log on to CaneStrikeout.com and print a voucher that can be redeemed at Cane's for a free Papa John's pizza. So get to Cane's today. Shields giving these fans a great chance at winning a pizza, as he already has 7 strikeouts so far as we enter the 6th inning. Vernon Wells 1 for 2, make it 2 for 3 with a single into center field. So Wells, the leadoff base runner for Toronto. That's now 3 consecutive innings. The Blue Jays have put the leadoff runner on with a base hit.
They got a fastball, took it right back through the middle to continue his hot hitting. And you have to believe the Blue Jays are thrilled to see that, because it's been a tough year for Vernon Wells to try to get his offensive game going. And they're going to need him.
Lyle Overbay, the batter. Fouls one back to the screen. You had Wells and you had Alex Rios, who just were not putting up the numbers that the Blue Jays had hoped for. And Rios was eventually allowed to go over to the National League, and Wells has just been battling through it. The one pitch to Overbay, hit hard into left center field. Long run, B.J. Upton. Long run, Carl Crawford. Neither one of them's going to get there. Bounces up against the fence. Vernon Wells will be sent home. He will score on the RBI double by Overbay, and we have ourselves an 8-3 Rays lead.
Well, Overbay's another guy who recently has started to swing the bat very well. And he picks up his 56th run batted in, dropping that one in between Crawford and B.J. Upton.
There goes Lyle Overbay with his 56th RBI of the year. And we have a pinch runner. One of the larger pinch runners you'll see, Randy Ruiz, takes over at second base for Lyle Overbay. Ruiz, a guy we saw in the last couple of series prior to tonight. Here's a ball hit to right field, sending Gabe Gross back in front of the warning track. He makes the play. And Ruiz will head over to third base with one out. So Encarnacion retired for the first out here in the sixth.
We're talking about Vernon Wells and how important he's going to be to this club. He's signed through 2014. So they expected and now hope that they will continue to get more production from Wells as they've received over the last couple of weeks than they did most of this year.
See Vernon there breathing a little heavily, having a laugh, but he's got his work through some injuries over his career and now working through a tough season. Good September for him would do wonders for his mental state going into 2010. We're going to have a pinch hitter here for the Blue Jays. Kyle Phillips is going to hit for Rod Barajas. So, Gaston with the expanded rosters getting a chance to see some guys play here in September. Kyle Phillips recently called up in his Major League debut on September 14th, and he lost a soft fly ball on the right. Gabe Gross, a diving effort, can't make the play. Backed up by Upton. Phillips has himself a double, and the Blue Jays have another run. It's now an 8-4 game on the pinch hit RBI double by Kyle Phillips.
Well, a diving attempt by Gross out here. He's almost in between and decides to try to dive. Comes up just a little short. Puts himself back together, and now Shields has to get serious here.
Yeah, James is working with a 4-run lead now. It was a 6-run lead to start the inning. First pitch swinging is Travis Snyder, and he pops one up in foul territory. Plenty of room for Willie Eyeball. And there's 2 away. Hey, Rays fans, we are putting together our Rays postseason special show, but we want to hear from you, the fans. So email us your favorite Rays moment from the season at ask.therays@fox.com or visit sunsportstv.com and click on the Ask the Rays button on the Rays page and submit your entry. Then you can tune into the show in October and find out if your moment made the cut. John McDonald, the hitter, takes a breaking ball for a called strike. Out 0 for 2 tonight against Shields. A 1 pitch, soft pop up, shallow center. Time for B.J. Upton. He puts it away. The Blue Jays add 2 here in the 6th on 3 hits. The Rays lead heading to the bottom of the 6th by the score of 8-4.
really, really proud of the way Carl's handled this season.
So Madden talking about that man right there, Carl Crawford, who already has 3 hits on the night, including a couple of runs scored, and been catalyst in this 12-hit, 8-run attack against the Blue Jays. Kyle Phillips remains in the game after his pinch hit double. He's the catcher for the Blue Jays beginning the bottom of the 6th, and Randy Ruiz, who came in to pinch run for Lyle Overbay, takes over at first base. Dirk Hayhurst back on the mound for Toronto. He's now worked 2 innings so far, allowed just 1 hit, no walks, 1 strikeout. Hayhurst, the 3rd pitcher behind Scott Richmond, the starter, and Brian Wolf, who came on in the 3rd. 1-1 pitch is a called strike, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Crawford. Carl with those 2 runs scored tonight, now with 86 runs on the year. Swing and a miss. Hayhurst has his 2nd strikeout. Crawford, an out recorded against him for the first time tonight.
You know, Hayhurst has kind of settled this game down a little bit for the Blue Jays. He did give up the RBI single to Zahn, and one of the 2 inherited runs he got scored, but he got the double play ball out of Iwamura, and Aki appeared to be safe on that, by the way. But he had a perfect 5th inning, and now a strikeout of Crawford here.
Josh Renicky, right-hander, warming up for the Jays as Evan Longoria fouls one just above us. 0-1. Longoria, a couple of runs scored tonight as well as Crawford. Evan 1 for 2. Also has an RBI. So Longoria now with 90 runs scored. Mentioned Crawford had 88. Still leading the team in runs scored is a guy who's been on the disabled list for the last 12 games now. And it was great to see Carlos Pena today in the clubhouse. 1-1 pitch is hooked. Just foul. Just foul, says 3rd base umpire Dan Iasanya, as Longoria made a bid for an extra base hit.
Well, he had the best look in the house, and boy, that was pretty close down the left field line. He did not miss. Oh my goodness. Isn't there just one little piece of that foul line that it hit?
It looked like it, Dwayne. It looked like it may have gotten just a piece, but as you said, Iasani right there. As close as you can get. 1-2 the count now. Down low, 2-2. Haney said he's been watching all the telecasts on the last road trip. Not a lot of fun for him to watch and not participate, especially when his teammates were struggling.
He really misses being away from the club on that road trip because I know that he just had to suffer watching. But the club went through, and Joe Madden said yesterday, he said it was just to lose him was disastrous.
3-2 to Longoria fouled off. Sometimes you don't realize how big a piece of the puzzle a guy is until he's missing. Carlos certainly last year, the year before, this year. What a big spot in that Rays lineup every time his turn comes through. Evan Longoria a little frustrated as he strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Hayhurst, 2 away here in the 6th.
Take a look at this. He was out in front. You see Hayhurst gives you a little bit of that crossfire, delivers that off-speed pitch, and that's it turns out to be difficult.
He's trying to give his Toronto teammates a chance to come back in this game. The game they trailed 8-2. It's now 8-4 as Zobrist grounds one into the hole and into right field. Ben Zobrist has 3 consecutive hits. He's starting to like this designated hitter role.
Well, so far the Rays have not found a role that he cannot perform well in. So he's the DH tonight, and he is doing exactly that, hitting. He's 3 for 4.
Ben popped up his first time up. Since then, a double, a single, and a single. Run scored, RBI, on base yet again. And here's Willie Ibar. Ibar takes a pitch away, 1-0. Willie getting the start tonight at first base. A lot of times you'll see Joe Madden go to Chris Richard later in the game, so this could be Willie's final at bat. He takes one inside, 2-0. James Shields and the Rays leading 8-4. Opening game of the 3-game weekend series against Toronto. Swung through that fastball, 2-1.
Hey, Todd, speaking of Carlos, we're going to try to get him on during this homestand here.
In the booth?
Yeah.
That would be outstanding.
I think it'd be great.
He would be a natural to join us up here for a little television. 2-1 the count to Willie Ibar. Breaking ball stays upstairs at 3-1. Kirk Hayhurst take a little time to regroup here. He's only allowed a couple of hits now, trying to work through his third inning in this game. Probably close to his final batter or two, as Cito Gaston's had action up this entire inning. Ibar fouls it away. It's 3-2. And Wheeler loosening in the Rays bullpen. One of those nights where it's probably not going to be an 8-inning game for James Shields, as his pitch count was rising towards the century mark last inning.
Yeah, just under 100, a couple pitches shy.
Wheeler loosening up now. It could be a 6-inning night or just a little bit beyond that for James Shields. 3-2 pitch to Willie Ibar, and it's ripped, but it's ripped foul and into the Checkers bullpen cafe. Well, last start for Shields was the start where he and Matt Garza went in part of that split doubleheader. Garza went in the first game, Shields went in the second. And Joe Madden took Shields out in that game after 6 innings and 100 pitches, knowing that he was going to use Shields again tonight. He told James right after he took him out, "I'm limiting you tonight. We're going to bring you back on normal rest and let Garza have the extra day," with 118 pitches under his belt that day. This ball's hitting the left field, and Travis Snyder doesn't have to move very far to put it away. So 1 hit, 1 man left on base. We head to inning 7. Rays lead the Jays 8-4.
Transmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays.
7th inning baseball, Tropicana Field. Here's Dwayne Stats.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. The Rays hold an 8-4 lead. James Shields worked 6 innings and gives way to Dan Wheeler. For Shields, 4 runs, 9 hits in 6 innings. He struck out 7. And the Blue Jays send the top of the order, Jose Bautista, up there to lead off the 7th inning. The first pitch is a strike call. Bautista's 2 for 3 tonight. Wheeler comes on. His 62nd appearance. Pitch just a little bit wide. It's 1-1. Wheeler worked a third of an inning Monday in the first game of the Baltimore series. It's a strike, and it's 1-2.
This was earlier in the season, or maybe even the middle part of the season. Joe may have had James Shields start the 7th, but he's been trying to limit Shields to 110, 112 pitches at the max. Get a chance to go beyond that in this inning if he started the 7th.
Breaking ball there, misses. Takes the count to 2-2.
Late in the year, you've got 200 innings under your belt now, the 3rd consecutive year. You're starting to look at spots where maybe you're going to give guys an earlier breather than you would normally.
Going to ask the bullpen to cover 9 outs. There's a wave and a miss, and now he needs 8. Bautista's out on strikes. 8th strikeout for Rays pitching.
2-2 pitch to Bautista, and he breaks off a nice slider there. Bautista swings through it.
We'll be with you tomorrow. Second game of this series on Fox Sports Florida in high definition. Our coverage begins at 6:30. Here's Aaron Hill. Pitch is down and away. Hill walked in the 3rd. And scored. He lined the 3rd in the 5th inning. He's had a great comeback year with very good power numbers and run production numbers. That's a strike, a fastball. Fly ball back into center field. That's going to be over Upton's head and will one hop against the wall. Hill's on his way to second with a stand-up double. So Aaron Hill has his first hit tonight.
Just like the Rays have had that punch of Evan Longoria and Carlos Pena all year long, more of the 3-4 punch. These two guys in the 2-3 slot really putting up big numbers. Aaron Hill, Adam Lynn continue to be the guys that can hurt you the most in this Toronto lineup. They just seem to always have good at-bats and always seem to hit the ball hard.
And Wheeler left that pitch out over the plate for Hill, who picks up his 31st double. And here's Adam Lynn, who is so dangerous in the middle of their lineup. He has 2 hits tonight. 2 for 3. Pitch up and away, a ball and no strikes. And one area that has bothered Wheeler this year is his pitches made to left-handed hitters. He's really worked on trying to keep the ball away from them, but they've drifted back out over the plate. Down and in, blocked by Zahn. So Hill at second with 1 out in the 7th. Jay scored a couple runs in the 6th inning to trim the Rays lead from 6 to 4. Really prefer to keep it at that. But a challenge here with Lynn. their best hitter. And a foul. Fastball away, and he fouled it the other way. 2-1.
Lind had a couple of hits against Shields his first 2 at bats. Guy that big couple of pitches elevated, he's going to take care of them. Shields did a nice job though working out of trouble for the most part. He seemed to always have base runners on other than the second inning.
Checking the runner. And the start by Hill as Wheeler steps back off the rubber. Hill returns to the bag at second. Top half of the 7th. 2-1. That pitch down a bit. So it's 3-1 here to Adam Lind.
Dangerous spot here. Lind in a good hitter's count. You've got Vernon Wells on deck, who's really been on a tear as of late. In a situation where Dan knows he's got to come in with something on the plate. This guy, good hitter.
3-1 is foul back. A fastball to take the count full. Wheeler struck out Batista, gave up the double to Hill, and now 3-2 to Lind. Hitters in the Toronto lineup right here in the 7th. 3-2 and a fly ball into left center field. Crawford is there to make the catch. That will be out number 2. So he retires the very dangerous Adam Lind.
You have big spots in the game, sometimes in the 8th inning, sometimes in the 9th inning, but I think in this game that could have been a very big spot. Down to the count 3-1 to Lind, 1 out and 1 on, and he gets Lind there. Breaking ball. Lynch trying to protect the plate with 2 strikes, and he ends up hitting the ball pretty well to left center field, but Crawford able to track it down.
So 2 outs, and here's Vernon Wells, and you've seen him tonight come up with 2 hits, 2 out of 3 to extend his hitting streak to 11. And a little foul ball. There's it fair. Zahn tried to jump on it just in case it was going to be fair. There's some hustle by Zahn, and the fans appreciate what he tried to do. It was a foul ball from the beginning, but Zahn not taking any chances. It's a great effort.
It really was. He tried to keep that ball fair. He didn't realize the ball had hit Vernon Wells' bat twice while in the batter's box, but he got out of there in a hurry.
It's pretty good hustle for the veteran catcher. That's his game. And that's strike 2. Wells tried to check, but could not. Count is 0-2.
When Joe Madden goes over the pitcher-batter matchups before the game, he did say he really liked Dan Wheeler in this spot against Vernon Wells.
Wells 1 for 13 against him, but red hot. 0-2 count. And he got him. He struck him out, came back with a fastball. And so Wells is out on strikes. 9 strikeouts for Rays pitching. We're headed into the bottom of the 7th. 8-4 Tampa Bay. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Rays coming in to hit in the bottom of the 7th inning. They hold an 8-4 lead. We're going to see the 4th pitcher of the night for the Toronto Blue Jays. Scott Richmond started. Brian Wolf followed. Luke Hayhorse was their 3rd pitcher. He worked 3 innings of scoreless baseball. Josh Renicky will be the 4th pitcher of the night, brought on by Cito Gaston.
Renicky is the son of the former major leaguer Gary Renicky. Fastball, cutter, changeup, appearing in his 11th game for the Blue Jays.
Zahn takes the first pitch, fastball high. Greg Zahn 2 for 3 tonight. He has a couple of runs batted in. Lifts the fly ball into left. Snyder is there. That's the first out. Rays got 5 runs off Richmond and 3 off Wolf. No runs in 3 innings off Hayhurst. Here's Akinori Iwamura. Trying to make it a dozen over the Blue Jays this year. 11-4 in the season series coming in. 1 ball, no strikes. It's foul out of play. 1-1.
That was a real nice job turned in by Dirk Hayhurst in a game that was 8-2 at one point. You can almost pack it in and think about the rest of the series, but he's given his team a chance, and they really made a threat there in the last inning to get a lot closer than 4 runs.
There's a line drive and a base hit. Served the other way into left for Akinori Iwamura. Aki's on for the 3rd time with his 2nd hit.
Getting to be that time of year when you look at the finish line a little bit. 2 weeks from Sunday is the last game, and I think for Akinori Iwamura, hitting 300 in this season that was cut short by injury would be a nice little number to hang his hat on going into an offseason.
Here's Gabe Gross. He's walked, singled, and struck out. Drove in a run with the 3rd inning base hit. Pitch is a strike. Josh Renicky coming over from the Cincinnati Reds. He has a good arm. Upstairs, it's 1-1. It was part of the Scott Rowland deal that sent Rowland to the Reds. Two balls and a strike. Pitched an inning in his last outing against Detroit. That was on the 13th. Left-handed hitters have given him a little bit of a problem since coming to the Blue Jays. Runners on the move, wave and a miss. Aki's into the steal, the ball loose as it kicks out into center, and Aki will go over to 3rd. No, a stolen base for Aki. He's 9 out of 10 now in that department. An error on the throw by the catcher, Kyle Phillips.
Good jump by Aki, and Kyle Phillips is a guy who's caught a little bit in the minor leagues, but played mostly first base and also DH, only a dozen games at the minor league level. So Joe Madden trying to extend the lead, putting Aki on the move, and now getting him in this 3rd base with 1 out.
count to Gross. Infield in. And a liner into left. That's going to be caught by Snyder. Back to tag Aki. He's headed to the plate. And he is going to be safe. He didn't hit the plate. There was no tag. Vanover waited to make a call. And when the ball popped loose, Aki got back to the plate and tagged it for run number 9. It's 9-4.
Take another look, Travis Snyder. Phillips trying to block Aki off the plate. Doesn't have control of the ball, but Aki misses the back of the plate, so the play's still alive. Josh Renicky couldn't grab the ball in time, and Aki gets back to the plate. Here we see Phillips doesn't handle the throw cleanly. Aki just misses the back end of the plate. The ball rolls under his arm, and then a mad scramble, and Aki's able to get into the score.
One hopper down to third by Upton. Encarnacion throws him out. That will retire the side, but the Rays come up with a run as Aki streaks to the plate and goes back to tag it. 9-4 Rays.
St. Petersburg. During our Rays Live pregame show, we offered you the interactive poll question tonight. Log on to sunsportstv.com or fsflooridatv.com to vote. Who do you think has been the Rays MVP this season? Your choices: Bartlett, Crawford, Longoria, Pena, or Ben Zobrist. Log on to sunsportstv.com or fsflooridatv.com, and you can cast your ballot. Back upstairs.
All right, Whit, thank you very much. Randy Ruiz leading off the 8th with Russ Springer on the mound, and Springer's first pitch, a fastball and a big swing and a miss by Ruiz. Springer, the third Rays pitcher tonight. It's down and away. And the Blue Jays have Ruiz, then Encarnacion and Phillips do. 68th appearance for Springer. Another big cut and a miss on a fastball. 1-2. 9 strikeouts for Rays pitching. Shields had 7 and Wheeler had 2. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Ruiz out on strikes. 10th strikeout for Rays pitching tonight.
Russ Springer really looking for a bounce back appearance. He has struggled his last 4 times out of the bullpen, and he picks up a strikeout right out of the gate against Randy Ruiz. Just nothing but challenging him with fastballs, and Ruiz swung through 3 of them.
So 10 strikeouts, that means pizza. Got to go to Cane's and get the voucher, and then pizza. 10 strikeouts. The Rays 3 pitchers tonight. Some Papa John's pizza.
Normally Rays fans get excited about a strikeout, but not quite to that level to start the 8th inning. They're fired up.
A strike on the outside corner to Encarnacion. Encarnacion singled in the 4th. On 2 now. Springer suffered the loss in that game in Baltimore Wednesday. Victimized by the home run by Matt Wieters. And this one up and in, and it hits Encarnacion. So he'll go to first. Takes over there with 1 out.
Springer ahead of the count, obviously not trying to go that far in. He tried to get inside the plate a little bit on the inner half, and the ball just tailed in to the shoulder of Encarnacion, on the bicep area actually.
So Phillips is due up now, and Joe Madden's going to make a pitching change. He has the left-hander Randy Choate ready, and we'll be back after this. There's the breakout. Grant Balfour and Dan Wheeler 1 and 2 in the bullpen. Middle relievers keep their teams in the game. You two can stay in the game with just for men hair color. Randy Choate on to face Kyle Phillips. Lefty on lefty here, and the pitch is a strike. Encarnacion is the runner at first, hit by a pitch. There goes the runner. The pitch is a ball, and the throw is not in time. A tag by Bartlett, but Encarnacion got his hand on the bag before the tag was applied to his lower extremities.
Wow, that is way too close in a 5-run deficit. If you're a base runner there, you better be 100% sure with 5 outs to play with in a 5-run deficit you can get in. he does not need to go in that situation most of the time.
The foul ball, 1-2. That's the first steal for Encarnacion as well.
Maybe he was seeing the finish line and realized
he needed one.
He needed one.
How about that?
Wow.
A 1-2 count. Away. Now 2-2. A 9-4 game right now. The Rays with 14 hits and the Blue Jays have 10. Runs the count full.
Well, Joe saw a spot here with Phillips in the game for Barajas, followed by Travis Snyder, a couple of lefties back to back, where he could use Choate to try and get through this inning and then hand it over the ninth. But big spot here. You don't want, if you're Randy Choate, to think about anything but going after Phillips. With this 5-run lead, he's got to throw a strike here.
And a wave and a foul tip strikeout into the mid of Greg Zahn for the strikeout. Choate picks up the 11th strikeout for Rays pitching. Saturday afternoons made for baseball. This week Fox brings you the national game of the week. Alfonso Soriano and the Cubs take on Albert Pujols and the NL Central leading Cardinals in a showdown between bitter division rivals. Fox Saturday Baseball this week at 4 Eastern on Fox. Travis Snyder in the batter's box. Waving and missing. Strike one.
It's like no signals from Zahn. Didn't even put a finger down. It's just left side, right side of his leg. See if he does it again with Choate here and a rookie at the plate.
There you go. And a chopper to the right side for Iwamura. And Aki's throwing to first. Retires the side. A man left. We go to the bottom of the 8th, and the Rays lead 9-4. Got a replay. Carl with a base hit in the first, a triple in the third. He drove in a run with that triple and later scored, and then reached on the infield hit in the 4th inning. Turned that into a run. He's 3 for 4. Here in the bottom of the 8th, it will be Bartlett, then Crawford, and Longoria. Josh Renicky was touched for 1 run in the 7th, an unearned run as a result of the catcher's throwing error. Bartlett after the first pitch and misses, strike 1. One ball, 1 strike. Fastball is off the plate in. 2 balls and a strike. And 1. Rays live the post game coming up immediately following our game. Whit Watson will be along. Three and 1 the count to Jason Bartlett. Ground ball third. Held by Encarnacion, and his throw to Ruiz at first in time. One out for Carl Crawford.
Article today on the internet about Carl Crawford where they took him through an entire day from the morning all the way through the end of the game when he's at home, and learned just how much Carl loves turkey burgers here at Tropicana Field.
They're healthy.
He likes them. Yep. He says they're good for you. And he goes, Ryan Denlinger, although he didn't name him in the article, says he makes them the best.
1 strike to count. Well, Carl right now 3 for 4 tonight. They're working tonight.
Turkey burgers are working tonight. When you have a 3-hit night, you go back to what works for you.
1-1 to count to Crawford. Yeah, he said he really doesn't have any superstitions like a lot of players, but he is pretty regimented. And you find players will establish that routine and stick with it. Whether that's just out of preference for routine and habit or superstition, that's open to debate.
We've talked a lot about Carl tonight, and of all the guys that get here to the ballpark early and stay late due to treatment for his legs and due to extra work, this guy has the best work ethic, I think, or at least right near the top. Nobody outworks Carl Crawford. He is here early. He's always concentrating on how he can improve.
2-2 now. And there's another hit for Crawford. A base hit the other way into left. A 4-hit night for Crawford. He's 4 for 5.
Those turkey burgers are going to taste good tonight for Crawford. So Carl had a little struggle there where his average dropped down to right around 300 and in danger of dropping below, but 303 coming in and 4 hits tonight will put him a little more comfortably above that number. He just takes that pitch the other way. 2 of his 3 hits tonight have been to left field. Here's a look from behind the plate, inside out swing. Crawford able to deliver in the left.
Now Evan Longoria. There goes Crawford, and there will be no throw. That's a stolen base for Carl Crawford. Number 59 for Crawford on the year. That ties his career high in a single season. He had 59, as we discussed earlier tonight, back in 04, and picks up number 59 tonight in the 8th inning.
One shy of breaking that 60 stolen base plateau for the first time. Crawford with a huge jump.
It's low. Longoria has a run batted in tonight. We give 105 for the year. And a high fly ball hit deep to center. Wells back, and it's gone. Home run for Evan Longoria. It comes on a 2-0 pitch. Longoria hits his 31st home run of the year. This one a 2-run blast. That will give him 107 runs batted in, and the Rays lead 11-4.
The Rays put up 11 for a James Shields start for the third time this year, thanks to that guy, Evan Longoria. It has that sound right there is different than a lot of hitters when he drives that ball to center field. It just has a different sound to it as he clears the fence to straightaway central. That is just pure power on an outside pitch, taking it up the middle.
Now the pitch to Zobrist is down. A ball and no strikes. One and one. So Evan started the night third in the league in runs batted in behind Mark Teixeira and Jason Bay. Teixeira with 112 and Bay started with 106. Longoria started the night with 104. So Evan now has 107. That pitch comes back and picks up the strike zone. Started in and came back to catch the corner. Zobrist is out on strikes.
We've seen three styles of home runs from Evan. He can obviously pull the ball and drive it deep to left field. He can hit those opposite field home runs to right central. But to me, the most impressive are those ones that he hits straight up the middle, those little 2-iron laser shots that never seem to get way up in the air, as he can just show so much power and be so still at the plate, just get through the ball so quickly. It's just very impressive. Not a lot of guys have that kind of power to straightaway center on the line.
Ibar fouling away the first pitch. The Rays make it an 11-4 game now. It's down. The count is 1-1. Two strikes. Rays had a 6-run third to take a 6-2 lead. They now lead 11-4. And a swing and a miss at the high fastball retires the side. But the Rays put two more up on one swing of the bat. 31st home run of the year by Evan Longoria, and the Rays lead 11-4. Stop John McDonald to lead off. He fouls the first pitch. Going after the first pitch fastball, fouling it the other way. Strike the count. Two. Bautista next, and then Hill due up. So pop-up foul, going to carry out a play. Shields worked the front six. Wheeler 1, Springer at third, Choate 2/3, and now Balfour. Swing and a miss. McDonald out on strikes. That had a little something extra on it with some movement. The Rays pick up their 12th strikeout tonight.
Little Aussie Heat 96 on the outside part of the plate. No chance. Exhaling as he delivers, and some serious gas right there from Grant Balfour.
Big one to Bautista. Two.
Great to see this offense tonight put up an 11-run outburst. You know, they couldn't buy a run there in New York or Boston on the road trip, so to start this homestand out like this.
Well, the Rays can only hope that it's something they'll see more of.
And it was one of those nights where really all the way through the lineup, a lot of contributions, not one or two guys shining. Different guys throughout the lineup getting the job done. So 12 out of the last 15 games beginning tonight at home. This team plays much better at home. A chance to at least feel better about things going into the offseason after a real tough stretch here on the last road trip.
Now still 2 strikes. Rays trying to win their 12th game of the year against the Blue Jays. Reminder, we'll have Rays Live, the post game, immediately following our coverage. Bautista continues to foul these pitches away. 2 strikes with what is at the moment a 6-pitch at bat. And another foul ball.
I think Grant Balfour needs to take this inning on video and watch it for a while. 11 strikes and 11 pitches.
How about that?
That's pretty solid.
And a ground ball to second. Bautista's out of there. Even more at Ibar.
When you talk about Balfour, you know what kind of arm he has. It's just a matter of staying ahead of hitters and making the pitchers count. Can't have a better pitcher's count than 12 strikes and 12 pitches.
Here's Aaron Hill. Pitch is too high. Strike. So 12 straight strikes to start this inning. He's 13 out of 14 now. And now 14 out of 15.
Greg Zahn just keeps putting down that single finger, and Balfour keeps hitting the mitt. Now the crowd's going to get into it.
They're looking for the final out, the final strike perhaps tonight. On into the count. Here it is. And a high pop fly right side toward the line. Gabe Gross is there, and this game is over. Rays are winners. It's a 1-2-3 ninth for Balfour as the Rays take the first game of the series 11-4. We'll be back in a moment.